this was a fun match. 31-19, Scotland beats Italy, but the physicality, the speed, the pace, the fluidity, the tenacity of defense, it was on display for both Scotland and Italy today. Scotland did a fantastic job coming out on fire, and usually Scotland does that from my time watching them over the past year. They really start off hot, and then somewhere within the early second half, or even like the late first half, they fall off a little bit. I don't know if it gets like complacency or becoming a little bit unstructured, but from what I've noticed, they usually start off incredibly hot, and then they start petering off a little bit, and then it allows the opposition to come back in and put their foot on the gas and put Scotland on their heels, and then Scotland sort of gets that fire lit under them, and then they ramp up again. So that's a tendency that I've noticed with Scotland over the matches that I've watched them. But this match was really fun. I feel like the score doesn't necessarily dictate how close the match really was. Scotland took an early lead. What were they? Was it 19-0 to start? I'll look at the stat line here in a bit like we do, but I believe it was 19-0 to start. And then Italy started battling back in and was able to knot it up to 19 even. But there was just incredible passage of play. The speed to ball, the strategy, the kicking was on point this game. Defense was exceptional from both sides. Brex from Italy looked exceptional. He was the Six Nations player of the tournament last year, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff. We had Minicello's defense looked exceptional. I really loved from Scotland, Darcy Graham. His ability and his field vision, his pacing, his fluidity was exceptional. Huw Jones, he got the Six Nations man of the match for this game, and he deserved it. 3 tries, I believe. Looked fantastic. Finn Russell's kicking was on point. I believe he missed one conversion, I believe. Oh, and when we look at it, but I think this game was a lot of fun. And Italy, they're becoming a side that has really grown and developed, and they are really becoming a team that I put down as a big threat. They're becoming a big threat because of the style of play. They're starting to really put together, and they're looking like an incredible side. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do the Six Nations. I think they're going to come away with maybe 2 or 3 wins within Six Nations. As I'm sitting here thinking, I feel like they're going to beat Wales just because they look more cohesive. They look faster. They look like they have a pace and a confidence about themselves, and have really started to put things together. So it's great to see that nation and that team is really developing in the world of rugby. Fantastic players. I really love seeing Brex play. I really love Minicello. But man, we have to highlight Scotland. They look incredible. Of course, we have Duhan van der Merwe doing fantastic things. He had incredible line breaks. He had a nice inside pass to Huw Jones to get a try earlier on the match. And Huw Jones, he just looked, he was a man on fire today. And I think Darcy Graham was another, like I would say, like the co-man of the match for me, just because of the line breaks and plays that he was making. Seemed like to me that he was all over the pitch today and making plays happen. And just every time there was big plays happening, I would just hear Darcy Graham's name and just see him everywhere. So massive shout out and congratulations to Scotland, and congratulations to Italy. That was a fun match to watch. I think both sides did incredibly well. As I mentioned, I feel Scotland, they get off to a very hot start and they start putting on them. That's a team that looks like they could win a Six Nations tournament the way they start. If they're able to hold that level of play all 80 minutes of the match, and I know it's very difficult to do, but if they're able to keep that consistency throughout the match without having that massive fall off the cliff, they're incredibly dangerous, and they're a tough team for sure. I know they're missing Tua Pelotu, who's an all-star player on their team, but they did well to fill in for his position, and hope that he has a speedy recovery and gets back on the pitch soon. I really enjoy watching him play. He has a lot of tenacity. He has a lot of grit to him, and I think he brings an energy to Scotland and that toughness to Scotland. And they're a great team. I just think there's a fall off that they have, and they sort of shoot themselves in the foot. and then once they're on their heels and playing on their heels, then something lights, like a fire lights them up, and they get on it again, like we saw where they're able to put points on the board with Darcy Graham with that amazing line break. But overall, an exceptional game. I want to see if I missed anything. Scotland, to me, they looked very fast, fluid. They looked physical. They had a very dominant structure early on. A little bit of a fall off, like we mentioned, but they brought it back together, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all playing out. Like these games, that's why it's interesting watching Six Nations now that I understand and are watching these matches live now, and able to see how these the what do you call it, the strategies played out. It's so interesting to see, and it's almost like a toss-up. Like when I have Ireland, I have France as my 1 and 2, but man, when I see a Scotland team play at this caliber, they could be dangerous for any nation to play, seriously. And if they're able to hold on to that consistency and able to hold on to their style of play and have it throughout, they're going to be very dangerous. I think the Italian defense, they're strong, they're tenacious, they're young, and very, very physical. For me, I still have one more match to check out between Ireland and England, but this was an exciting match from top to bottom, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really loved the physicality. I loved the strategic play of both sides. Had a lot of energy, had a lot of I just think great rugby. It was a fantastic display of rugby, and it was really enjoyable to watch. I want to hear your thoughts, crew. Let's jump over to these stats and see the breakdown of the head-to-head and the stat line. All right, 31-19, Scotland takes it over Italy. Scotland, as we see in this flow chart, start off with a hot start. They led early tries within the 3rd minute, the 8th minute. They had already put up two tries on them. But we see at after halftime, Italy, they battled back and brought it even at 19-19. So Italy showed that heart, and that's why they're going to be a dangerous team as we start moving through these next rounds of the tournament, because they're not the Italy of old that I saw when I first got exposed to Six Nations on that Netflix documentary a year ago. And I do have to check out the new season of that documentary, and I'll do a video on that one as well as my review on it. But this is a completely different identity of the Italian team. They look like they have that confidence again. They may have lost this match, but the scoreline does not dictate how close this game was, and it really could have gone either way. Just that defensive breakdown from Italy when Huw Jones, Darge, had that massive line break. He cut inside, got past 3 Italian defenders, and just took off. That was just an exceptional play that Italy did not shouldn't have allowed happen. It's easy to say they shouldn't have allowed it to happen, but those are the plays that you can't have where a man breaks inside on you and you lose your inside contain and he just gets loose on you, and that's what really cost them the match in the end. But overall, a fantastic match. Time in the lead, 65-0 Scotland, 81% to 0. Possession in the last 10 minutes, 20% to 80%. Italy had it in the last 10 minutes. And if Italy was able to convert their 22 or their 5-meter entries to points, they had an opportunity to come back in this game and win, because there were 3 or 4 opportunities they had to get a try. There was a knock on, there was I believe a turnover, and I think maybe a few knock-ons that happened. But if they were able to convert those 5-meter entries in that last 10 minutes of the match, we could have seen a different score line. Who knows? They were scrapping until the ends, but Scotland's defense held up, and they were able to close the match out and walk away with 5 points, because they did get bonus this game as well. Looking at the key events, we had Rory Darge scoring at the 3rd minute. We had Finn Russell converting. Huw Jones scoring at the 8th minute. Russell converts. Then we had Allen. I have to give Allen a shout out. I can't believe I missed him in my notes. Tommaso Allen, 4 goals or 4 kicks to penalty goals to keep Italy in the hunt, because if they weren't able to score points or put points on the board. They weren't scoring any tries, but Tommaso Allen did a fantastic job getting points off of his boot, and he kept Italy in the game and just kept them that spark, that energy. And sometimes you need that. You just need those little pockets of hope to keep you going, because his points really kept them in going into half, and they were able to fight back in the match and bring it to 19-19, and just happened to lose it in the end. But overall, he did an incredible job as well, so I have to highlight him. Then at the 28th minute, we had White scoring on Scotland. Allen with the penalty goal at the 38th minute, taking us to half. It was 19-9, so it was a 10-point deficit for Italy. Coming out, Allen scores at the 43rd minute on a penalty goal. Then we have Brex. Brex is just an exceptional player. I love seeing him play defensively. He gets the try at the 45th minute. Allen gets the conversion, 19-19. And this is when Huw Jones had his try at the 60th minute. We have Russell scoring the conversion at the 61st minute. And then we have Huw Jones at that 65th minute, taking the lead to 31-19. But what I was going to say with the Huw Jones at the 60th minute, that was Jones gets the try, so he was able to complete his hat trick. But the love on that 60th minute try has to go to Darcy Graham, because of the line break that he had, that incredible vision, the coordination to break to the inside and get past the Italian defense and have a brilliant solo effort, and then passing it off to Huw Jones for that try. All hats go off to Darcy Graham for allowing that play to happen and giving Scotland that cushion and giving them the victory. That's what really broke the camel's back in this game. Win probability, 82% Scotland, 17% Italy, 1% was that draw. The 22-meter entry for points scored, 3.4 to 1.4, and 9 entries to 5 entries. Scotland takes that. At the attacking profile, Scotland wins in all categories. 22-meter entry, 9 to 5. 3.44 conversion to 1.4. 7 line breaks to 4. 162 carries to 94. 28 kicks to 27. And 294 contact meters to 160. And I think the broadcast team did a fantastic job of highlighting how tiring and depleting playing defense is within the world of rugby, because as Scotland is attacking, as we see they're winning these profiles, they have more carries, their post contact meters almost 300 contact meters. Italy had to play on defense a lot, and being able to convert those tackles and having to get up and get into a ruck and continue to fight and play off your heels and defend, like the announcing team said, that is incredibly taxing. It's more tiring than playing on attack, because when you're going forward, you're using less energy, you're expending less energy. But when you're playing on your heels, defending, tackling, getting up, it completely exhausts your gas tank. And I think that's what we saw at the end of the match, especially in the last quarter of the match, that Italy's defense was completely gassed because Scotland just kept the foot on the throttle and just kept wearing them out. And so by the end of the match, they were exhausted. And that's why you see those defensive breakdowns happen, and how Darcy Graham is able to expose that defensive opening. It just becomes tiring, and like those little lapses in judgment happen and little openings where skilled players can completely expose you like they were at that moment. But fantastic match from an attacking side from Scotland. They did well and were able to convert and do a fantastic job putting points on the board. Looking at the defensive breakdown, the 3 categories for tackle, dominant tackles, tackles made, and tackles missed, Italy takes those 24-13, 212 to 131, and 30 tackles missed to 16. And the 212 is what we were talking about in that last few minutes, was that yes, they have Italy has 212 tackles made compared to 131 for Scotland, but those are 212 exhausting tackles where they're draining the tank and having to play on their heels and just defend their goal. That wore them out at the end of the day, and Scotland was able to pull away just because they wore them down. They exhausted the Italian side, and it shows they had almost nearly 100 more tackles made than Scotland. So fair play to Scotland for playing on their front foot and wearing down the Italian side, because we saw how the match unfolded by the end. They had more energy, they had more gas in the tank, and they were able to close it out and get the 31-19 victory. Looking at ruck speed, 53-47 goes to Scotland, 34-33 in the 3-6 range, Scotland, and for the 6-second range, 13-20. Italy takes that with a 20%. Total rucks won, 123-73. Scotland takes it. Last 5 penalties, 3 to Scotland and 2 to Italy. Let's punch over to the stats and take a look at this a little bit deeper on the possession side of the field, or of the match. We went through all this: the carries, the line breaks, 7-4 line breaks, turnovers lost, they're at 13 apiece, turnovers won, 7-6. Scotland takes it. Total territory breakdown, 55% for Scotland to 45 for Italy. But looking at the single possessions per side, so Scotland, they are starting from their own 22-meter entry, 8, 23, 47, and 22. So they were threatening within their 50-meter entry the majority of the match, and but they were able to convert. So they had long line breaks that happened, and when they were in the 5-meter entry, they were the 22-meter entry, excuse me, they were able to convert on those points. So Scotland did a great job of capitalizing on their opportunities, and they did a fantastic job of stopping Italy. When Italy, as we go down to their stats, we see that they were in the 22-meter entry for 22% of the time. Scotland did a fantastic job of digging in their heels at that 5-meter entry line and stopping tries and points from happening and keeping that game in their favor, because if Italy was able to convert in those last 15 minutes of the match, we could have seen a completely different turnout. So possession time in the last 10 minutes, 80% Italy, 20 Scotland. Possession time total, we saw 58% to 42. Scotland takes that. The amount of set plays, 8 to 5 scrums for Scotland. Both have 100% win percentage. Lineouts, 13 to 14 for Italy, 100% to 93 Scotland. 6 restarts apiece, and then 100% apiece for restarts received. On the attacking, Scotland takes it, 200 passes to 146, 162 ball carries to 94, 294 meters post contact to 160, 7-4 line breaks, and then turnovers won 7-6, and then turnovers lost 13 apiece. So they were even in the turnover category, excuse me. And I feel if Scotland is able to clean up that side of the game, where they're not turning the ball over as much, they're not resting on their goodwill of getting off to the hot start and, you know, setting a big lead. If they're able to keep their foot on the gas and continue to assert their dominance from an attacking side, we're going to see a Scotland side that can win a Six Nations tournament, because they have the players in place, they have the team, they have a very solid structure when it comes to their attacking profile, and even defensively they're solid. They have all the pieces in play. There's a fall off with their discipline, and if they're able to clean up that discipline piece, they're going to be a very scary team, I feel. And the same with Italy. Italy has a little bit of a fall off, but they're a team that is developing and growing, and they're a team that can be threatening for what their first ever Six Nations tournament win, not this year, but in the next coming years, if they continue to do the right things. And it looks like they're trending towards that right direction, I feel. And it would be great to see Italy win their first Six Nations. That would be historic. It'd be beautiful to watch. Penalties total 8 to 7. Scotland conceded 0 yellow cards, 0 red cards. Very clean game. Not a lot of referee intervention like we had in the Wales match, and I loved seeing that. They let the players play. They let the game unfold the way it needed to. There wasn't a lot of referee intervention. I thought it was a beautiful job, personally. And I know there's some new rules with the scrum halves where you're not able to be as close to them as they were. Please enlighten me on the entire specifics of that. But I know it changes the dynamic of the scrum half having an advantage over the defense. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that. Defensively, 212 to 131 for Italy. For tackles made, tackles missed 30 to 16. So they missed a little, nearly double the tackles for Italy. And then tackle completion percentage 89 to 88. And then we're looking at the kicks 28 to 27. So overall, a fantastic match. The player of the man of the match was Huw Jones. I think he deserves it. I think that the co-player of the match for me has to be Darcy Graham. He was everywhere on the pitch today. Fantastic job by him. And I have to just shout out the Italian side too. Tommaso Allen, his accuracy with kicking today was incredible. He kept Italy in the game. Brex, Minicello, Garbisi, all incredible athletes, man. Those Minicello and Brex specifically, I love their aggressiveness and their defensive prowess. Love watching them play the game, and fun match to watch. Crew, I want to know your thoughts on this match. What were your thoughts? How do you think it's going to turn out for both of these teams going into the next rounds of the tournament? And I have to say, I just saw my notes. That Brex interception for a try at the 45th minute was exceptional. That was a beautiful run and interception. The timing that he had was on that was brilliant. So big love to both teams. Scotland, congratulations on a great win. Italy, congratulations on a very well played rugby match. It was exciting. It was physical. It was fun. It was fluid and I think it was just one of the most exciting matches that I saw out of the two that I've seen this weekend. I'm going to watch the Ireland-England game next, so be sure to check out the video coming out on that one. But I'm really enjoying this round one. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out and unfolds as the weeks continue. But I appreciate you always being here and connecting with me and continuing to be on this journey and educate me in this crew. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you're enjoying these videos. If you do, be sure to drop a like, hit the sub, and we will catch you on the next video. But remember to always stay laser focused on your dreams and your vision. And remember that you're in control. I love you, crew. Catch you on the next one. All right. Peace.